Welcome to Inspire and Move, the show that inspires you to create, connect, and grow. I'm going to bring you meaningful conversations, aha moments, and all the motivation you need to up-level every part of your life. I'm Ali Aruda, founder of Inspire and Move, and your personal hype girl. I've gone from fashion school to celebrity stylist to corporate marketing to brick-and-mortar entrepreneurship with my husband, each time learning incredible lessons how to pivot, reimagine, and implement the steps to become successful. I'm passionate about inspiring others to live their best life, a life of joy. We have the power to design a life that we love, because life is too short not to. The best part is that you weren't meant to do this alone. If you feel like you are meant for more, let me ride shotgun with you, and together, let's get you to where you want to go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Inspire and Move podcast. I am your host, Ali Aruda, and we are back in our home studio, me and Matt together, and we are so excited to be here.
Hi, everybody.
And we are going to give you a full recap from our first ever HYROX race that we just completed this weekend in Atlanta.
It was real. It was very real. And people asked us kind of as soon as we got back, how was it? And I think the first word that comes to mind is it was hard. There's no need to kind of say that, we felt X, Y, or Z, which, is definitely the byproduct of it, I think, for sure. But if I think of one word first, it was hard, man. It was very difficult. But we kind of had an idea, obviously, going into it. Ali and I, for as athletic as I'd like to think we are, and as much as fitness is a massive focus of our life, not just for personal reasons, but for professional reasons, doing something like this, where you've got something that you were training hard for, and you are doing it in an extreme, acute amount of time, and then traveling to go and put yourself on not so much display, but as much as I would say closer to proving to yourself that all the work and all the time that you have put in, no matter how long it was for something. We've never had to do this. We kind of go in, we get our workout done, whether it be with our trainer or on our own, and we kind of go on with the rest of our day. It felt like something that was just constantly growing to the point of the race itself. Would you agree?
Totally. And to give you guys a little bit of a backstory, we kind of alluded to this in an earlier episode when we were talking about doing hard things. We shared that we had signed up for this race. But to give you the scoop here, in case you're just finding the show for the very first time, Matt and I have made a big investment this year for what's called the Elite Entrepreneur Mastermind. It's something that has been on my vision board for at least 4 years, and it is run by our dear friends, Chris and Lori Harder. And we are so excited to be in the room for this year-long mastermind. As part of the in-person experience that was in Newport Beach earlier this year in March, after the end of the 4-day in-person event, you make a wager. Everybody in the room, something that you are committing to do and complete by the time we meet again in the fall, in October, in person again. And so you have until September 30th. And Matt and I, especially since there were 2 of us in the room, we thought we would make not 1, but 2 wagers. One that's very specific to the growth of Benchmark Fitness and our app, but another was to complete our first ever HYROX race. And there's an important why behind this. Matt's looking at me like, please go on, is that we are actually so excited about this new sport, relatively new sport, and it's something that we want to integrate into Benchmark Fitness brick and mortar as well as the app. So we thought it was only appropriate for the founders of Benchmark Fitness to commit to and complete their first ever HYROX race. And since we had to do it in a finite amount of time before September 30th, we took ourselves to Atlanta this past weekend to complete the race.
And in typical Matt and Ali fashion, it's on our brain. Let's get it done.
Absolutely.
Let's not overthink this. Let's not get in our way with all of and trust me, there were tons of reasons or excuses as to why this isn't ideal. And some of it might be very, very real, but I think you choose what it is that is going to be the reason why you do or you don't do it. And the irony here is we chose to do so at the end of March, and we start our training all throughout April, and we crushed this in the last weekend of April. And all that to be said, it was 5 days before the race where we then heard that the next HYROX series event is actually going to take place in Toronto, friggin' 30 minutes from where we live. Mm-hmm. However, it's not scheduled until early October. And albeit we had a deadline in which we wanted to get this done by, in the moment when we heard, I thought, well, shoot, it'd be a hell of a lot more convenient if we just did this in our home city specifically. But I can't imagine thinking about having to build up, build up, build up. The way we've been going, the amount of bandwidth this has taken up in our lives to be all in on this, I can't imagine volunteering that same amount of bandwidth for an additional 4 more months, 5 more months until we get to October. So obviously, we're here recording this episode on the heels of the race, meaning we clearly decided to stay on course, no pun intended, and stick with the race out in Atlanta, pull off the Band-Aid, get it done, feel good about getting it done, have that part of the wager completed, and all that is great. But I think what it really boils down to for you and I is knowing that as new as this was for us, and as much as it seems like it could be, I had a lot of people say, well, you guys are already so fit and you guys already own a gym. Like, this can't be that difficult. I'm telling you, it was effing difficult. This is not easy. This is not normal. All we had to look at was the room that we were in, or the convention center that we were in, with the other, 1,000 plus athletes that were all running this same race, albeit in their own heats and their own waves. And these people were specimens, literal Olympians. So I'm here to say that, yeah, we own a gym, and yeah, we're healthy, and we eat well, and we are fit and strong, and all of that other good stuff. But this is a completely different level. And I was really, really proud of ourselves for committing to it, putting ourselves in the room, putting ourselves in the race, and I think doing quite well, all things considered equal.
Absolutely. And it's something that to echo what Matt said, that yeah, we're fit and we're in great shape and live a healthy life, but we worked with our trainer, Jess, and
Shout out, Jess.
adjusted our training to mirror the exercises that are in the HYROX race. And for those of you that are listening, they're probably like, what the heck is a HYROX race? Or I think, as Matt's mom says, a HYROX.
I've had a few HYROXes.
HYROX, yeah. Very endearing. I love that. But it is a 8-kilometer run, but that is broken up into 1-kilometer increments. In between each kilometer is what we sort of describe as a strength and conditioning exercise. So your first station is the ski erg for 1,000 meters. You have a sled push, a sled pull, you have a rower, you have sandbag walking lunges, you have broad jump burpees, and farmer's carry with kettlebells, and finishing off with wall balls.
Your legs are toasted by the time it's all said and done, to the extent where you think you could have sworn that when you weren't looking, somebody has assaulted you with a bat. Your legs should not ever feel that way after an hour and a half or thereabouts. And there we were. And this, guys, again, let me remind you, is on the foundation of a couple of people that are fit, that do go to the gym 5-6 days out of the week and want to. We like to. It's part of our livelihood and part of our lives. But man, it just doesn't prepare you for how real it is in the moment. And you're going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, the good news is that every exercise you do is lower body dominant, and then you go and immediately run for a kilometer. So yes, you're super tired. I do remember when Matt and I were training, it was like our second or third workout, and I looked at him, I was like, why the hell did we commit to this? I'm not interested in this anymore. But actually then this comes back to the power of your mindset. In full honesty, guys, full transparency, I actually used to hate the rower and I used to hate the ski erg. And I was telling one of my personal training clients just this morning how I was able to rewire my mindset and my relationship with those pieces of equipment and learn to love them, learn to enjoy them, and I wanted to master them. And here Matt and I are telling you all about our HYROX race that is physical fitness, but there was so much of it that was mindset based and just the motivation. And I think that this was such a cool thing for Matt and I to do. We've been together well over 12 years, and we've never done anything like this together. We've never trained for something that was unfamiliar to both of us, new for both of us, that we also then got to complete together. So we were in the partner heat where it was, sisters, husbands and wives, whatever it may be. And we were able to complete the race together. And I've said to a couple of my clients and friends that I actually think it was really amazing for our marriage, just trying something new and different and truly working as a team. And we are really blessed that we work really well together in life, in business, and on the HYROX course.
I've actually said the same thing to a few people. It was probably our greatest takeaway is that we did it together. That, it isn't a part of my life that I can tell years down the road, or a part of yours specifically that you can tell down the road, where the other part of us don't know because we weren't there. And we can imagine how hard it was, but we couldn't connect with it. Now we can, and it's something that we got through together. But all that is to say that, this is not a fitness podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about this as the vehicle that I think allowed us to learn some really great lessons all the way through, and take some really great things away from this, and bring some really great things into it. We've been working on our mindset, working on our positive outlook for years and years. And I think this was an amazing opportunity to let all that stuff shine and let all that fly, which was helpful in its own right. Because to kind of frame this, I am not a runner, like at all. I like fitness. I love sports. I'm competitive, but running is not what I do. So when you say run 8 kilometers, that scares the living shit out of me, because I've never run 8 kilometers. I've barely run half of that in one workout setting, or one workout per se, in my life. So to literally double that, but wait, there's more, add a ton of lower body exercises that are fatiguing intentionally in between running twice as far as I ever ran before in my life. It's really hard, obviously, physically. So what you have no choice but to do in these moments is really tap into the mental, really tap into the emotional, knowing that you are capable of this, knowing that just because you haven't done it before doesn't mean that you can't do it now. We leaned on each other multiple times, especially as we were running, because when we're in the stations, we're in it. Like we're deep breathing. We are all hands on deck, every muscle engaged. But in the running, we have 2 kilometers, or a kilometer, 2 laps per se, that we have with each other. And how many times did we talk to each other about, tell me something you're grateful for? Mm-hmm. What part of this is easier than you thought? What's been your favorite thing about this so far? Because if you start getting down into how negative or how difficult this is exclusively, with literally nothing else to look forward to get you out of the hard or the tough that you happen to be in front of at that point, what the hell's the motivation to move out of it any quicker or slower than where you are at that given moment? You have to have something that you are looking forward to, something that is propelling you to make that next step when you've never been there before.
100%. And I know I've said this on the show before, probably many episodes, but I've really leaned into this quote unquote mantra about that Matt and I get to do this HYROX race. We get to run 8 kilometers. And I actually was posting something on social yesterday, photos from our race, or the other day, and I saw a HYROX Instagram reel that they put out from the Sunday race. Matt and I raced on Saturday. I was looking at a piece of content from the Sunday race, and it was an Army veteran that has no legs. He, from the kneecap down, is an artificial leg times 2. And it brought tears to my eyes watching him complete everything, running, the rower, the skier, the wall balls. And I've thought this as an outsider before, that this HYROX sport seems really accessible to a lot of people. You see people that are in their 70s, their 80s.
We had them there running with us, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. And yes, to Matt's point, there were a ton of fit people. Very inspiring, very stimulating. If you're someone who is motivated by fit people, which 2 individuals here in the fitness industry, I am. I think it's awesome. But there are also people that probably don't work out for a living, but they are there too, and they are showing up, they are committed, and they are doing the hard things. And it was so inspiring to be in that environment. And we've documented this whole journey. We worked with our videographer, Matt, documenting all of our workouts and, pre-race, pre-Atlanta. We just did a post-race interview. And it was such a great experience. And I know we're sort of repeating ourselves saying how wonderful it was to do this together. But the root of this that we've talked about so many times is the power of making a commitment and following through and doing the hard work and taking action. My mom actually did a really sweet Instagram post yesterday talking all about the commitment that we made to this race and, to the wager, to the room of all of our peers that heard us say that out loud, taking immediate action and following through with the action of doing the work, doing the hard work, enlisting the support that we needed, insert trainer Jess to support us. And speaking of support, we received so much from the Benchmark Fitness Burlington community. It was just unmatched, as well as on social. And I think that's one of the coolest things about social media is there are people that just buy into what you're doing. They celebrate your success, they celebrate your victories and cheer you on. And that was something that just made this entire experience that much better.
And there's a couple of things that stuck out to me before we got to Atlanta that I remembered a few times throughout. One was sent to me through a good friend of mine, good friend of ours, Vince Scarcelli. Vince is a neighbor, a gym member, but most importantly, first and foremost, a good friend. And he had posted something that I commented on and kind of went back and forth on it, but talked about the art of competition specifically. And it was very fitting based on what we were about to do in 12 to 24 hours earlier. But really, it could be a quote that lends itself to anything that anybody is doing for the first time that they're concerned with, scared about, not sure of. All of these things fit, and how competition is really just the act of forgetting. And by that, what he meant is it's about forgetting that you haven't done this yet. It's about forgetting about what was once the hardest thing you ever did. And that's no longer going to be it. This is going to be the hardest thing that you've done. And forgetting how you felt in that hardest moment, forgetting that just because your body hasn't taken that step yet doesn't mean that it doesn't know how to. All of that is an extremely important reminder that you don't need to have the physical proof in front of you to do something just before doing it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just have faith and trust in yourself that you've put in the work, you've put in the reps, and you know who you are as a person, that you're not going to give up. Failure doesn't happen if you don't stop, right? And then the other part of this came from, again, a friend and a gym member of ours as well, Joel. And we were a day, I guess, or so.
It was a Friday morning.
Yeah, we were leaving Friday afternoon. And he comes up to us and says, you know what, guys, it's going to be hard. There's going to be times where it's going to be hard. There's going to be times where you don't feel like running. There's going to be times where things are going to be heavy. And in that moment, just smile. Because nobody ever did anything that was difficult when they were smiling. And how many times did we find ourselves, especially on the tail ends of those bloody kilometer runs where you're running into the next station? I know I found myself smiling as I was running into that station, and I was tired as hell. But you put a smile on and you're still physically tired, but emotionally, you're reset again.
Mm-hmm. And I love that you said that, because I was going to say that too. And we had set a goal for ourselves, but actually, you guys, the first goal was just to complete the race.
It done, damn it.
Just finish it, knowing that it is something unfamiliar. We've never done this before. And then we thought, well, maybe we'll set a time goal for ourselves, just kind of as a guideline, but really be respectful to ourselves and give ourselves grace with this from an expectation standpoint. And sure enough, we beat our time, and that felt great. But one of the biggest takeaways that we'd love for you to extract from this episode is the power of commitment and its relationship to consistency.
So good.
It's something that we've really leaned into a lot this year. And I think it's truly because it's a reflection of how we are living in our own life and how we are showing up in our business. That I was just with one of my one-on-one coaching clients on Monday, and I was talking about how, in 2023 was the first year that Matt and I really started to invest in a more substantial way in terms of business mentorship with coaching and masterminds and live events. And that has continued every year consistently and has become a non-negotiable, because every year that we have made these investments, our business has grown.
And so have we.
Exactly. I was going to say, it's one thing for our business to grow, and we all love having, bigger revenue years, year over year. That's amazing. But also a big part of growth is how you grow as a human, how you show up in your relationships, but also how you feel. And if you are proud of who you are, if you're happy with who you are. And all of this has been so beautifully aligned with showing up, making a commitment, and taking consistent action.
I couldn't agree more. And here's a little spoiler alert. Sometimes the consistency, if not always with the consistency and commitment, it's boring. You're not doing consistently incredibly exciting things to move the needle on your life or your business or your relationship or whatnot. Sometimes a lot of times, if we're going to be honest, a lot of times the growth comes in the consistency of doing the mundane and the consistency of doing the mundane well over and over again. All you have to think about is your diet, right? Like, you're never going to gain 10 pounds of muscle or lose 10 pounds of fat with one meal and one workout. That's not how it works. You literally have to put in some cases, months or years of consistency. And that's not to say that you don't enjoy yourself when you need to, whether it be for social get-togethers or holidays or whatnot. You pick and choose. We're all adults. We can be smart enough what makes the most sense in our life. But make no mistake, if you want to see a result that hasn't happened before, then you have to do something that hasn't happened before. And the consistency part of that, a lot of times, is just mastering the mundane. Maybe it's as simple as just waking up half an hour earlier so that you can have your shake created instead of grabbing the bagel and whatever coffee or Jamba Juice or whatever it is that's more convenient on the way to the office. Whereas half an hour earlier gets you the ability to make a homemade shake or overnight oats or whatever it is. 30 minutes earlier is not ideal. But you do that over an extended period of time, and how does it move your needle? Of course it will.
People are probably going to listen to this and laugh, but I know I have used this example so many times on the show. I talk about pull-ups.
There you go.
Pull-ups.
There you go.
You guys, I have been working on these. It's probably been like 7 years, and now I can do 4. Sometimes I know it's a small number, but
how many did you do a year ago?
0.
Exactly.
Me and pull-ups have been in a long-term, hard-working relationship, and it feels freaking great. But it's also very transparent. 7 years, consistent work. And it's not just, that I've been doing pull-ups every day for 7 years. It's a variety of training to prepare me for pull-ups, doing those lat pull-downs, wide grip, narrow grip, you get the gist. But it's just showing up and having that commitment to taking action, to bettering yourself and being that 1% better every single day.
I'm reminded of a quote. I don't know who said it, but I think of it often. I've thought of it my whole life, and it's very fitting here, that there is no shortcut to any place worth going. So if you're looking to get to somewhere substantial, you're going to have to go the proper route. You're going to have to put in the proper work to get there. And this is why, a university degree is no less than 4 years. You can't get it done in a weekend. This is why it takes kids years to learn how to speak properly. It doesn't just happen automatically. And even kids, what am I saying? As adults, we're still learning how to speak properly. So anything that is worth doing well typically takes more time than not. And you've got to be willing to put the consistency in to see the results accordingly. And sometimes that's just time. Sometimes it's money as well. Sometimes you've got to spend the money to put yourselves in the right place, the right rooms with the right people, mentors, the ability to have a coach put you on track to get there quicker is never a bad thing. But it's a matter of whether or not that's important enough in the overall scheme of what it is you want to accomplish.
I was just going to say the same thing, that sometimes it does require investing and putting skin in the game, because you are more likely to show up and be consistent with taking that action that you've invested in something. Maybe it's $100, $200, maybe it's $1,000, whatever the investment may be. But especially if it is someone like a coach or a challenge where you have accountability partners, you're more likely to stay committed to taking that daily, weekly, monthly action. And it's something that we've done year over year, and we are huge advocates for that. And now we get to support people that way, whether it be, in the gym or on the app or with my business coaching. It's really exciting and it lights us up.
Yeah, it makes a big difference for how we feel through the day, because we see people's wins, which is obviously very motivating for who we are. We're empathetic people as a whole. So seeing people break through things that they never thought they might, at least as quickly as they do, that lights us up for sure. And in that breath, we have some fun stuff to share. Tell the people.
So you guys know that we recently launched the Benchmark Fitness app a couple months ago, and we've already wrapped up our first 6-week challenge, and everyone
And it
in
went
it,
amazing.
oh my gosh, everyone crushed it.
Yeah.
Talk about celebrating wins and smashing goals. It was so amazing to see, and we had people all over Canada, US. That's what's so exciting about entering the online space with the app, that we can connect with more of you and welcome more people into the Benchmark Fitness community. So since challenge number 1 went so awesome, it's only appropriate to do challenge number 2. So challenge number 2 is starting on June 2nd. Obviously, we will drop all the details in the show notes. And depending on when you are listening to this, there is an exclusive $50 promo. So again, all of the details will be in the show notes, but it is all caps challenge 50 when you check out. And we would love to have you. Doesn't matter where you are. It actually is super exciting. If you don't live in Ontario, we want to welcome more people in from Canada and the US and beyond. So we are so excited to open those doors and welcome people and support you. As Matt said, we love celebrating wins and victories, and that's a big part of who we are and a big part of our brand.
Yeah, and the strength of this program specifically, the strength of this 6-week challenge is we're all taken off together on June 2nd. And we go for 6 weeks accordingly. In case you haven't seen what it's about, it is 3 programmed workouts every week, whether it's going to be a body weight, a dumbbell only, or having full access to the gym. Whatever program is best suited for you, we will get you ready to rock before June 2nd with it, so that you can hit the ground running, literally, with all of us as of the 2nd onwards. We have daily accountability. We have a full meal plan that is customized to everybody. So whatever your restrictions are, whatever you need in your daily habit, your daily routine. Yes, thank you. I'm thinking menu, daily menu, whatever you can't have in your daily menu, we can work with all of that. We're going to be very flexible in making sure that you get everything you need to be as successful as possible for those 6 weeks. And doing it all together, I think from what we've seen in this first one, at the very least, it breeds momentum and it breeds accountability. So it allows us all to get to where we want to get to quicker and with better results.
We are big fans of momentum, and we just want to recap everything by just, being consistent and taking that action, because you are setting yourself up for greater success, whether it be in business, in life, relationships, or in fitness. And we are always here to celebrate you and cheer you on. So if you ever need to seek a little extra support and motivation, just send us a DM. We would love to support you and celebrate you. And we would love to welcome you into the next Benchmark Fitness 6-week challenge. All the details in the show notes. Thank you guys so much for being here. We're so grateful for you and sending you lots of love. And we will see you again soon.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much for listening. If you loved this episode, it would mean so much to me if you took a few seconds and shared this on social media, sent it to a friend, or left a 5-star review. There is power in community, and I'm so grateful to have you part of mine.